Okay, this morning I want to talk about life without an undo button. So we'll give it just a moment for folks to be able to find us, and then I want to share with you just some observations from life without an undo button. So give me just a minute here so that we can get some folks in. Good morning, John. I'm really glad to see you this morning, John. Something I say today might resonate with you and where you are. So cool. I'm glad to see you this morning, John. I know it's early in the morning for you, so I appreciate you coming in and joining me today. Let's see. Let's get started here. I want to talk about life without an undo button. I was doing a webinar last week, and I do webinars all the time, most weeks. And I was doing a webinar, and a lady said, "Is there an undo button?" And it took me by surprise. Because we're talking about two lines of text. I mean, what is there to undo? First of all, I was just shocked that there would be a request for an undo button on something that was just two lines of text. I was just really confused by that one. And then you make a color selection. It's like, that's not too hard. But that's not what surprised me. What surprised me was I stopped and I said, no, and I don't understand undo buttons. I just don't. I don't know if I can get my head wrapped around an undo button. And she said, I can't use software unless it has an undo button because I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake. And there I realized what the real key was that we are so fearful of doing something wrong that we insist on a way out. And that's what the whole purpose of the undo button is. It gives me a way out in case I went in the wrong way. And so, excuse me, I'm bothered by this we can't make mistakes kind of thing. Because one of the great things about being in business is you can make a mistake. You can make a mistake and you can survive that. Few mistakes in life are fatal. They just are. And you can back up. And I used this illustration when talking to her about this undo button. I used this illustration and I thought it would be helpful. The illustration was, I'm trying to figure out how come we have a very limited audience this morning. John, appreciate you being on. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to my audience. All right, I had a great audience yesterday. My impromptu 12 noon on Labor Day live feed. Amazing crowd of people watched that, and I really appreciate that. So let's get back to life without an undo button. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay. And instead of making a mistake and worrying, let's get out of that. Let's figure out what happened and what we should do next and where do we go from here and that kind of a thing. But I stopped and I went in kind of a silly direction. And I said, I don't even park in a parking spot where I have to back up. I don't undo anything. I will rather drive around the block than to back up. It's just easier for me to do that. Let's plunge ahead. My whole point this morning is let's live life without an undo button. Let's be free to make mistakes. Let's give ourselves permission to fail so that we can start again and we can figure out what we did and we can move forward from there. Let's live life without an undo button. Very simple, not complicated. I don't have 3 points this morning. I don't have any great quips or no interesting thing to talk about. It's just, I think it's time that we begin to live life without an undo button and get rid of the fear of making a mistake. Because the fear of making a mistake paralyzes you from making progress. Okay? Not too complicated. Not very difficult to understand, but there's very little that we can do that we can't recover from. All right? Sometimes it takes a while. I'm still in the process of recovering from some things myself. But understand this. We can live life without an undo button. We don't have to erase the mistake. We can learn from it and we can move forward instead of backwards and be at the same point we were before we started. I can't understand this wanting to live life with an undo button. It just doesn't make sense to me. So this morning I just wanted to talk about the undo button for just a moment. Thank you for joining me, John. Thank you, the rest of you who will join on a replay. I appreciate my audience. I really do. Y'all were very, very supportive to me yesterday when I had to talk about CBD oil and the history of hemp. So, and my involvement there. And I'm very involved in that industry and will continue to do so. But I had to talk about it yesterday. So y'all supported me in that, and thank you for that. So with that, remember, live life without an undo button. Don't constantly be looking, how do I erase my mistake? But instead, how do I learn from it and move forward?